Stop being a people pleaser. If you're anything like me, it is very hard to do, right? I've been a people pleaser all my life, and it wasn't until recently that I really broke through that. But it's exhausting, right? I'm sure you're watching this because you know that you're a people pleaser and you want to figure out how not to do it because it's stressful. It's stressful being the yes ma'am all the time, the person that does everything for everyone else and puts themselves on the back burner. I know exactly what you're feeling and I want to help you through that. My name is Erin Cook. I'm the creator of Find Your Free Time, and that is where I help busy people like you find an extra 1 to 2 hours a day to do what it is you want to do after finishing your to-do list. So if you need some more free time, go to findyourfreetime.com, but let's jump in to people pleasing. Now, before we tell you how to solve being a people pleaser and decreasing the stress in your life, we have to know why we're doing it in the first place. Now, I'm going to give you tough love like I normally do because this was a 30-year process for me, okay? So by listening to this video, I'm going to save you 30 years of counseling because really that's what it boiled down to. Now, when we are people pleasing, what is it that we're doing? We're making other people happy, right? We are being non-confrontational, we're easygoing, we want people to like us. And what that really is doing, now listen up because this is the most important part, it's actually distracting us. We're doing it for our benefit because we want people to like us so that they won't leave us alone or abandon us in a friendship or a relationship. Now, the reason that's important to note is the reason that we don't want to feel that way is because we haven't dealt with a certain pain inside us that it would allow us to feel fulfilled without people. But there's some pain that we haven't really conquered, something in our past, something that's hurt us, that we need to not feel. Like we don't want to feel that pain. So what we do is we distract ourselves. Our brain is so smart and it knows that in order for us to not feel that pain, we have to numb it with something. And we have to numb it by having people like us and fill us up from the outside. Does that make sense? Because I'm sure everybody here can kind of relate to that. At first, I didn't know what it was that was really causing me to always want to please people. And I was exhausted and I was stressed out. And what I did, this is my whole life now, since I was about 10 or 11, I've always had like depression, anxiety. That's just from, genetics. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And before I go any further, I just want to say nothing my parents or my family did, I was never hurt like that, led me to this point. It was just some internal factors from school and things like that happened. My family was fantastic, so it wasn't a problem there. But I didn't know what it was. And it took me, I started going to counseling when I was 12. Okay, so fast forward almost 30 years later, I'm still there on and off, struggling, not just with that, but with anything. And to work through it for me, I have to have help. I've tried doing it on my own all the time, okay? So when we are people pleasing, what it boils down to is getting to numb that pain that we feel that we really haven't dealt with, or maybe we don't even know what it is exactly, and we have to figure that out. Okay, so the very first step in getting through the people-pleasing process is to find yourself in a way that you can be fulfilled without having other people fulfill you or fill you up and boost your confidence. I used to have a boyfriend all the time. I don't know if you're one of those people that always was in a relationship. Thank God I had great boyfriends. I'm very blessed like that. But I always needed somebody to fill me up and make me feel worthy. Okay, because of whatever it was that I was going through that I really didn't know and understand at the time. So I was having other people fill me up all the time. And when I didn't have a boyfriend, guess what I felt like? I felt like crap. Have you ever felt like that? You've gotten out of a relationship or somebody that you were close to, maybe a best friend, suddenly finds a different best friend and kind of leaves you hanging back. Well, you feel unfulfilled because nobody's there to physically fill you up. And it sucks, right? That is the very first thing to getting through this process, is to realize what's hurting on the inside and work through that and be okay with who you are. It is so hard for people to do. And I still struggle with it. So I'm not saying it's easy, but I know what I have to do. And I want you to know what it is that you have to do so that you can get through it as well. So that's the first thing, whether it's counseling, whether it's speaking to somebody, maybe you have an unresolved issue with someone, it's conquering that and getting through that pain so that you don't feel like you have to numb that hurt or that sadness anymore. And you can allow yourself to be happy with just you. So if everybody around you stopped filling up, I want you to feel good about you still. Now, the second thing we need to do after we have conquered whatever the root of our issue is to start saying no to people. And that sounds scary, right? At least it was for me. But we're going to do it in small ways. So here are some tips to help you start saying no to other people, because if you keep saying yes to other people, you're not going to have room to say yes to yourself. So the very first thing you need to do is think about a situation that you don't want to be in that you would normally say yes to. So for me, that would be maybe somebody inviting me to dinner when I really don't have time or I really don't want to go. Let's say that another couple invites us to dinner and we just don't have the time or whatever, but I want to please people. So what do? I say yes right off the bat. Well, here's a way to change that. So if somebody says, hey, Janet or whoever, do you want to do this tonight? And you really don't want to, the very first words out of your mouth should be, let me get back to you. Okay? Because our natural tendency is to say yes, because we want to make them feel good right away, take away from whatever it is we're feeling at the time, and just say yes. But that hurts us later on, right? When we do that. So your first reaction should just be saying, let me get back to you. Let me check my schedule, something like that, okay? That way you don't feel under pressure to give an answer right away. Now here's one other thing that you can do as well. So we'll just take that same scenario. We could say, you know what? That's not a good night for us. Let's do coffee or something at such and such a time, maybe before church or whenever there is like a small period of time that you're available and that person knows it. So you could say before work, let's meet. And then you have a way out, if that makes sense. But it gives you that freedom of not having to say yes all the way, but you're still saying yes to something, and therefore you can gradually break away from it. Okay, and when you get really good, you can just say, sorry, we're busy. And you don't have to add that extra little people-pleasing part to it. So it's going to be gradual steps, and I get that. And that's what it was for me too. Now I'm just like, sorry, can't do it, which comes to stop apologizing. And I say all the time, I always say sorry. So I'm not saying I'm good at this at all, because this is still something that's a work in progress. Stop apologizing for not being able to do something for somebody else. So if you need to put your family first and, let's go out to dinner, they say, and you say, sorry, my son has hockey. You don't have to say sorry. You can, but don't apologize because you can't please them. Just say, oh, Carter has hockey tonight. Maybe we can do it a different time or whatever. But don't apologize, because what it's really doing is telling you you're a bad person for not pleasing the other people. And not only that, it's annoying to a lot of people. I found that out. People told me, hey, it's so annoying when you keep saying, I'm sorry. Just say no and move on. And it's true. I was annoying. I don't know if you're annoying, but I was. Stop apologizing. If you've watched my video that is defining success, that is a video that teaches you how to reference what it is you've laid out as your definition of success. So anything you do in life, say somebody asks you to dinner, or whatever it is that you're trying to make a decision about and you're a people pleaser, you can reference this. It's almost like a paragraph or so of everything that's important to you and what your goals are in general. And if your activity does not coincide with what your values, your morals, and your goals are for your family and your life, then you just say no to it. Okay, so if you know what is important to you, it's easier to say no to the things that aren't. So if you turn down somebody and say no to them, you're actually saying yes to yourself. And that's hard for some people, but once you get past that first step that we talked about healing that hurt and knowing that you are worthy without somebody else filling you up, then you can get to that point where you can say, no, you know what, this doesn't fulfill my needs. It doesn't fulfill the path that we're on. It's not right for our family. I'm going to have to say no. Once we fix that root, which is our hidden pain, we can be okay with saying no to somebody else's goals and yes to our own. It's not selfish when it aligns with your priorities and your values and your morals. Again, if you want to go to Defining Success video that I did, you'll see exactly how to lay that out. So the first thing is heal your pain. You want to start saying no in small ways. Give it time. Say, I'll get back to you, or maybe we can just do lunch or coffee instead of lunch, or however you want to do that. Then you're going to stop apologizing for people and be okay with saying no to other people and their goals and saying yes to yourself. That's the gist of it. It's healing yourself and being okay with who you are. That's what it boils down to. And there's those tips that I listed can help you do that, but you really have to listen to your body, your mind, your soul, your heart, and be okay with you because you are worthy. And see, for so long, when I talk about the boyfriend story, I wasn't worthy. I didn't know what that meant. So therefore, what did it do? I had boyfriend after boyfriend. If I had so many long-term relationships, again, they were great, thank God. But when it came to going to college, I followed a boyfriend there and he was going to be a physical therapist, and I just didn't have any brains to say what I really wanted to do. So I just went to the same college and did the same thing, and by the time I got there, we had already broken up. So I was stuck at a college doing physical therapy, which I hated. And I was too stubborn to say no because I lived by other people's standards, right? They told me what to do. I couldn't think for myself because I didn't feel worthy. So here's to no more people pleasing. And again, if you haven't yet signed up for Find Your Free Time, my free training on how to get 1 to 2 hours a day to do what it is you want to do and to work on yourself, because that's what you need is time to work on yourself. You give and give and give. And I know this about you because you are a people pleaser. You give and give until there's nothing left. And then you stress out and you get sick and then you maybe explode. I was a person that exploded, right? I have a temper like you can't even imagine. I still do. I really do. And I'm working hard on it. But I do. I let things fester and then I burst. Find your inner worth because it's there. I can see it. Ask around. I bet a lot of people can see it. God bless. Go ahead and follow me here, and we do these trainings every week. I would love to see you again next time. Until then, God bless. Give me a thumbs up and tell me what else you want me to talk about, and I'll talk to you soon.